Tales of Hurting Gods, Chapter 523. Chapter Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. Chenmu descended from the heavens like a falling star, crashing upon the earth as mud burst upward in all directions. His entire body was drenched in blood, each crimson drop blending into the soil beneath him. Fury surged through him like a raging tide, his hair whipping wildly in the air as he strode forward, step by step, toward First Ancestor Human Emperor, who had only just risen to his feet. "You are the deserter of this battlefield. You don't have the right to look down on anyone." Chenmu's voice thundered like a storm as he roared and charged forward, his killing intent blazing like wildfire. Though his wounds were grievous, his aura burned even fiercer than before, and the force behind his strikes grew even more terrifying. Rage churned violently within his chest. The moment First Ancestor had attempted to destroy Second Ancestor Skeleton, Chenmu had felt as though the blood in his entire body was about to erupt. His primordial spirit descended from the spirit platform within his divine treasures and merged with his corporeal body. With his head propping up the heavens and his feet anchoring the earth, he was engulfed by the mist of the six directions, which surged toward him from all sides like a converging storm. His vital chi fused with his primordial spirit, and the primordial spirit fused with his corporeal body. In an instant, his vital chi coursed through every inch of his flesh and bone. At that moment, enlightenment struck him like a flash of lightning. He grasped the crucial essence behind First Ancestor's fusion of primordial spirit and corporeal body. The circulation of techniques required time. The eruption of divine arts also required time. The only difference lay in whether that time was long or short, and whether the power unleashed was strong or weak. With the primordial spirit residing within the divine treasures, vital chi could flow directly into the body. Bypassing the need for prolonged circulation, First Ancestor Human Emperor's terrifying speed was not merely due to his corporeal body having reached the god realm in every aspect. It was also because of his mastery over the fusion of primordial spirit and corporeal form. At that very moment, the 5 stars within Chenmu's 5 elements divine treasure aligned with his 5 viscera: heart, liver, spleen, lungs, and kidneys, corresponding to fire, wood, earth, metal, and water. The 5 stars entered the 5 viscera. The sovereigns of the 5 stars took their thrones within his organs. In that instant, each of his 5 viscera housed a god. Within his heart resided the bull-headed Mars sovereign. Within his liver stood the Jupiter sovereign, with a bird's body and a human head. Within his spleen coiled the Saturn sovereign, bearing the body of a serpent and the head of a man. Within his lungs sat the tiger-headed Venus sovereign. Within his kidneys dwelled the red-haired Mercury sovereign, its body serpentine. The 5 elements and his corporeal body resonated in harmony. His strength surged steadily, rising like a tide that could not be stopped. It was this power that had allowed him to send First Ancestor, who had been on the verge of destroying Second Ancestor Skeleton, flying away with a single strike. Yes, they have lost. They have lost miserably. Their palms collided, and a devastating force erupted forth. The surrounding white fog shrieked as it was cleaved apart by the violent current generated from their clash. The force of the palms was like an incomparably sharp blade, slicing through the mist and parting it across a distance of 300 yards. "They did it, but you've done nothing, so what right do you have to criticize them?" Chenmu roared in fury as all his vital chi erupted outward. His tendons bulged and writhed beneath his skin as he forced First Ancestor backward. Bang, 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 bang! Beneath their feet, the ground shattered continuously, until a vast expanse 300 yards wide was cleared of all fog. It was the overwhelming pressure of Chenmu's ferocious palm strike that had driven all the mist backward, toward First Ancestor. "Other than establishing Hall of Human Emperors, what else have you done?" Chenmu demanded, his voice burning with accusation. Behind him, volcanoes erupted, flames soaring into the heavens. This was the fist technique of Human Emperor Chi Kang, harnessing heart fire to unleash explosive might. First Ancestor Human Emperor's expression flickered. The power within Chenmu's palm surged explosively, sending him flying through the air. "You've done nothing!" While still suspended midair, First Ancestor saw Chenmu lift one leg. Chen Mu's body spun like a whirlwind as his vital chi transformed into countless spirit weapons that rained down upon him in a relentless barrage. This was Human Emperor Lan Po's technique for refining spirit weapons. First Ancestor Human Emperor swept his sleeves, shattering every incoming weapon. Yet before he could even touch the ground, Chen Mu extended a finger toward him. Mountains erupted forth, crashing down upon him and swallowing him whole. Connecting walls, tapping blue mountains. If they're inferior to you, teach them. You can teach them. First Ancestor Human Emperor forcibly shattered the divine, but before he could land, a massive bell came crashing toward him. Chen Mu followed close behind, striking the bell with fists and kicks, each blow echoing like thunder against its surface. The bell trembled, its power growing more ferocious with each strike. It tilted, turned, flipped, sometimes upright, sometimes inverted, sometimes aiming its open mouth directly at First Ancestor. This was Fifth Ancestor's Five Thunder Heaven-raising bell. First Ancestor Human Emperor retreated step by step, while Chen Mu's furious voice rang through the thunderous echoes of the bell. How did Second Ancestor die? From old age. Boom! First Ancestor's footing faltered. How did Third Ancestor die? From old age. How did Fourth Ancestor die? From old age. Were the aptitudes or the comprehension of all the human emperors inferior to yours? If you couldn't do it, you should have imparted your technique to become a god and let them do it. Why did you let them die of old age? Chen Mu unleashed the divine arts of all 34 human emperors he had learned within Fengdu. Though those emperors had only tested his aptitude and comprehension and had not passed down their complete teachings, intending for him to seek them out at the Hall of Human Emperors, their arts now erupted with astonishing power in his hands, forcing First Ancestor to retreat again and again. You clearly have the technique to become a god, so you should have taught them. Why didn't you teach them? What have they received from you? Other than a broken seal, other than a bunch of responsibilities and burdens, they didn't receive anything. They couldn't learn your techniques and divine arts, yet they were still helping you carry the burden you couldn't lift by yourself, struggle and fight with the enemies you feared. Yet you destroy their hard work and even want to destroy their corpses. They were all ashamed to face you after they died, ashamed to not have succeeded. Yet you want to destroy everything they left behind. How do you have the face to call them useless, to call them incapable? Chen Mu unleashed his final strike. But in that instant, First Ancestor suddenly reached out, seized his fist, and swung him through the air before smashing him ruthlessly into the ground. Chen Mu leapt back up, but First Ancestor counterattacked with a dazzling array of techniques. Fist arts, movement skills, sword techniques, formation arts, each one flawless, each one profound. He dismantled every one of Chen Mu's attacks with ease, forcing him into a defensive position. He remained incomparably powerful. His earlier retreat had merely been a calculated ploy to lure Chen Mu into overextending himself. Now he intended to crush him completely, body and spirit alike. His battle experience was boundless. His corporeal body maintained at its peak perfection, and his control over vital chi had reached an unimaginable level. Chen Mu, driven by emotion, poured everything into his divine arts, while First Ancestor remained calm and controlled, never wasting a single ounce of energy. Bang, bang, bang. Chen Mu endured a relentless storm of strikes, fists, kicks, divine arts raining down upon him. Compared to First Ancestor's young true god body, his own was still far too fragile. His true dragon overlord body could no longer be sustained. With a single finger pressing against the center of his brows, First Ancestor shattered it. Chen Mu was sent flying high into the air before crashing down like a torn sack of grain in front of Second Ancestor's crumbling straw hut. He struggled desperately to rise, but no matter how he tried, his body refused to obey. First Ancestor Human Emperor approached, his expression cold and unfeeling. Standing beside him, he spoke indifferently. You said so much, but was it useful? If you can, defeat me. Otherwise, you will never be worthy of the title of Human Emperor. Once you take it, the enemies you face will be far stronger and far more ruthless than I am. Chen Mu stared wide-eyed as First Ancestor walked to Second Ancestor's hut and lifted the skeleton. Don't. Chen Mu crawled forward with immense difficulty, finally grasping First Ancestor's ankle. His voice trembled as he sobbed. I beg you. Kacha, second ancestor's skeleton shattered and collapsed to the ground. First ancestor lifted his foot and stomped twice, his voice cold as ice. If you can't beat me, you will never beat them. This is your first chance to face me, so you still have 34 chances. Chinmu's vision blurred, his cheeks turning ice cold. First ancestor lifted him and tossed him onto the chest, speaking coldly. Each time you lose to me, I will destroy one human emperor's skeleton. If you continue to lose, these failures will cease to exist. Go! The dragon Qilin opened its mouth to roar, but its voice was sealed. No sound came forth. First ancestor human emperor glanced at it, and the dragon Qilin lowered its head, carrying the chest with Chinmu away from the ancient fragment of the celestial heavens. I'll kill you! Chinmu's voice rang out from atop the chest. I'll definitely kill you! First ancestor human emperor trembled slightly, but he did not turn back. The dragon Qilin carried Chinmu far away. I'm sorry. Ba-thump. First ancestor human emperor fell to his knees before second ancestor straw hut, raising a cloud of dust. I'm sorry. I didn't really mean to destroy your remains. I'm sorry. I've already forgiven you. A ghost rose from the shattered remains, its form unmistakably that of second ancestor, smiling gently. I've long forgiven you. I understand your thoughts. You want him to grow faster because he is the overlord body, right? He can carry the burden we could not, right? I've forgiven you, so return to Fengdu. They will forgive you as well. Within the dilapidated hut, skeletons slowly raised their heads, gazing silently at the kneeling first ancestor. We have all forgiven you. They looked upon their ancestor. Though first ancestor had not passed down the technique to become a god, he had imparted something far greater, a spirit beyond words, a spirit that would never yield, never fade. I can't forgive myself. Kneeling upon the ground, first ancestor's body gradually turned into stone as his primordial spirit departed into the distant void. The chest rattled as it raced across countless mountains, carrying Chinmu within. The dragon Qilin remained vigilant, its gaze sweeping the wilderness, guarding against any lurking beasts. 2 days later, they arrived at Border Dragon City. Si Yunshang and Hu Linger hurried forward to tend to Chinmu. After several days of recovery, he regained his strength. I'll kill him. Chinmu sat atop a dragon pillar, his eyes lifeless. I will definitely kill him. I will never forgive him, he murmured to Ling Yushu, who had brought him there. Seeing his dispirited state over the past days, she did not know how to console him. She had brought him here, the place where they had once played, hoping to lighten the shadows in his heart. Father is summoning me back. He says he's sending me to West Earth. Ling Yushu hesitated before continuing. Even though West Earth has submitted, there's no imperial authority there yet. Do you want to come with me? Don't keep bottling everything up. It's frightening. Tell me about it. Maybe I can help. Chinmu looked at her blankly, his eyes devoid of life. His once plucked beard had grown into rough stubble. In a hollow voice he asked, How do I defeat a true god? Ling Yushu was stunned. Chinmu lay down. Go to West Earth. The Emperor is sending you there, while Crown Prince Yushu is being sent north. If you govern West Earth better than him, you'll become Crown Princess. If you want it, I can help you. I have connections there, but I can't go with you. I need to think. Ling Yushu lay beside him, hands behind her head, staring blankly at the sky. A few years ago, when we lay here together, everything was so carefree. I liked you, you liked me, but after growing up, why did everything become so complicated? I miss those days. It's probably because we grew up, Chinmu said softly, eyes closed. Ling Yushu turned to face him, plucking a hair from his beard. Are you still the same you? Chinmu was startled. Xing'an said a person's body changes completely every 7 years. It's been 3 or 4 years, so maybe only half of me is still the same. Ling Yushu shuddered, angrily yanking several more hairs from his beard. Stop scaring me! You'll never become Xing'an. She tilted her head thoughtfully. If you don't want me to go to West Earth, I can stay with you. Do you want to go? Chinmu asked. I do. Ling Yushu sprang to her feet, gazing out over the vast mountains and rivers of the great ruins. Her voice brimmed with ambition. I want to become a female emperor and defeat my father. I want to prove I'm stronger than all his sons. A spark flickered within Chinmu's lifeless eyes. Watching her burning determination, inspiration surged through him like a rising tide. Vitality returned to his body. as if a dying flame had been reignited. He had come back to life. Translator, editor, Atlas Studios. Ling Yuxiu personally escorted Chen Mu to Heavenly Saint Academy, her figure like a departing swallow. Afterward, she returned to the capital within 2 days, where she awaited the emperor's decree. When the emperor resolved to establish 4 grand academies, institutions second only to Imperial College, the hall masters, elders, and heavenly kings of Heavenly Saint cult battled fiercely within the imperial court, their words like blades clashing in unseen combat. Their relentless struggle finally bore fruit, and Heavenly Saint Academy was granted its place. It occupied Granny Sai's manor, where after the clash with Sing An, Granny Sai, mute, blind, and apothecary had taken residence. Within the imperial court, members of Heavenly Saint cult numerous as stars scattered across the firmament. At the highest stood the imperial preceptor and Duke Wei, while at the lowest were soldiers and bailiffs woven into every corner of the empire. Thus, Chen Mu had no need to contend for the academy. Others had already fought in his name. Granny Si, mute, and blind had taken on the roles of directorates within Heavenly Saint Academy, occasionally imparting their teachings. The remaining directorates were largely composed of the hall masters of Heavenly Saint cult. When Chen Mu arrived, it was precisely the hour of instruction. Yet the academy lay eerily empty. Only a cluster of flood dragons played within the lake, their bodies glistening like coiling serpents of water. When they caught sight of Chen Mu, they froze for a breath, then surged ashore in wild excitement. In that instant, Chen Mu sensed danger. Without hesitation, he turned and fled. Weren't these flood dragons raised by Saintess Xiang at Saint Arrival Mountain? Why have they come to Heavenly Saint Academy? Maha! 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 A swarm of flood dragons rushed past the dragon Qilin in the chest. Before long, Chen Mu was overtaken and seized. He could only drag his weary body forward as more than a dozen flood dragons pressed against him, rubbing their heads affectionately while their horns tore bloody wounds across his neck. Maha! The little flood dragons clung to him, their eyes half closed, as though drifting into slumber. Chen Mu's entire body was soaked, as if he had just been hauled from the depths of a river. The dragon Qilin exhaled a long breath of relief, but in the next moment the flood dragons turned their gazes toward him as one. Realizing disaster, the dragon Qilin bolted in panic. Maha! 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 A mass of flood dragons surged past the chest, and soon Chen Mu saw the dragon Qilin barely crawling forward, his neck, torso, and limbs buried beneath the wriggling bodies of flood dragons. Maha! They rubbed against him relentlessly, leaving the fat creature battered and bloodied. Maha! The flood dragons suddenly raised their heads, staring curiously at the chest. The chest had just taken a step to follow Chen Mu, but sensing the looming danger, it abruptly turned and fled. The flood dragon slipped from the dragon Qilin and chased after the chest with gleeful cries. Maha! Maha! The dragon Qilin sighed in immense relief and collapsed onto the ground. Moments later, the chest returned, causing Chen Mu and the dragon Qilin to stare in astonishment. Not a single flood dragon clung to it. Maha! The chest sprang open, and over a dozen dragon heads popped out, chirping in delight. The sight resembled a chest blooming with multicolored daffodils, each head peeking out vibrantly. The chest seemed quite pleased with itself, following after them, as though the flood dragons weighed nothing at all. Moore is back? As the bell marking the end of lessons tolled, Granny Si stepped out from a grand hall. Upon seeing Chen Mu, she hurried over with a warm smile. It's been so long. You've truly become a grand chancellor who lets others toil while you vanish. You threw all these scholars here and slipped away, leaving us to care for them. Chen Mu stepped forward and embraced her tightly, tears streaming uncontrollably. Granny? Taken aback, Granny Si smiled gently. You've suffered? How can a grand cult master cry like this? You're the grand chancellor of Heavenly Saint Academy. Compose yourself. It wouldn't do for the scholars to see you like this. Tell Granny what happened, and I'll seek justice for you. Chen Mu gradually calmed, releasing her. He shook his head. What's with these flood dragons? Weren't they sent to Saint Arrival Mountain? Lassie Xiang did intend to send them there, Granny Si replied, but she found them too costly to maintain. They consume spirit pills, and not just one kind. So she sent them back. Lassie Shang is stingy, always guarding the treasury of Heavenly Saint cult. Still, it's good to have them here. When scholars learn pill refinement from your grandpa apothecary, the pills they produce are just right for feeding these flood dragons. These little fellows are quite famous in the academy. When scholars wish to paint dragons, craft dragon-shaped spirit weapons, or cultivate dragon-based divine arts, they rely on them. But what happened to you? Who dared provoke you? Cripple, apothecary, blind, come quickly. Mu'er has been bullied. Bang! A loud boom resounded as Cripple appeared beside Chin-Mu in an instant. Who dared bully our Mu'er? Have they grown tired of living? Its first ancestor, human emperor. A true god, Grandpa Cripple, Chin-Mu said. Cripple shuddered and immediately turned to leave. Blind caught him, smiling faintly. Cripple, you're afraid? Of course I'm afraid, Cripple muttered. Even that scoundrel Xing-An, not yet a true god, beat us senseless. First ancestor human emperor is a genuine true god. Aren't we just courting death by provoking him? Apothecary walked over, deep in thought. First ancestor human emperor? A true god? Could poison work? Chin-Mu shook his head. I want to defeat him fairly. Within the same realm, I want to defeat him with my own hands. Apothecary shuddered, then shrugged. Then I'm of no use. Cripple sighed. Neither am I. Where's Mute? He ran off a few days ago. Butcher approached, holding his blade across his shoulder, his voice booming. That fellow always disappears. Mu'er, how strong is a true god? He surpasses me in every aspect. He's faster, stronger. His spirit and body are one. His divine eyes exceed mine. His fists are terrifying. And his paths, skills, and divine arts are fused seamlessly with his body. Chin-Mu's expression darkened. He has already entered the Tao in every aspect. The only thing I surpass him in is magic power. Blind frowned. Stronger than my divine eyes? Chin-Mu nodded. Even Butcher, fearless before heaven and earth, furrowed his brows. After a moment, he asked, My blade techniques were easily broken. Death stepped forward. What about painting? No chance to execute. And Heavenly Saint Cult's divine arts? Granny C asked, shook his head. All fell silent. Did you try running? Cripple asked nervously. He caught me. Poison. Forget it. Apothecary waved dismissively. I can poison a god, but a flawless true god? Impossible. Chin-Mu smiled faintly. Don't worry about me. These past days I've reflected deeply. Though he seems invincible, he once fled the battlefield. That means there exists those stronger than him. He is not truly invincible. I can surpass him. Granny C smiled. Since you've returned, stay a while. Let us help you find a way. Chin-Mu nodded and went to set down his belongings. Granny C, Butcher, Blind, and the others gathered, watching his back. Butcher frowned. This is the first time Chin-Mu has lost confidence. He was never like this before. Blind narrowed his eyes. A true god. Are they truly that terrifying? Surpassing my divine eyes? I refuse to believe it. We should train him while he's here, Death declared. Learning without thought is blindness. Thinking without learning is stagnation. He stands at the crossroads of both. His battle with first ancestor human emperor is not merely one of cultivation, but of Tao heart. If he breaks through, his Tao heart will soar. If he fails, the overlord body may become useless. We must train him well. All nodded. After settling in, Chin-Mu felt as though he had returned to disabled elderly village. Butcher, Blind, Deaf, Cripple, and Granny C frequently summoned him, guiding him through combat. Their clashes overturned heaven and earth within the academy. Most scholars belonged to Heavenly Saint Cult, while others came from across the world. Over the next days, they witnessed the legendary prowess of the directorates, each display opening their eyes. Yet after several days, Granny Sai and the others frowned. Chin-Mu remained fearful, hesitant to strike. Even when he did, his techniques were flawless, but halted midway. Butcher grew furious, striking him while shouting, Why didn't you finish your move? Chin-Mu did not resist, merely shaking his head. It's all wrong. You must finish it, even if it's wrong. Granny C quickly pulled Butcher away. He's not in the right state. What if you ruin him further? Death nodded. His mind is burdened. He's trapped in a dead end. Beating him won't help. When he finds his path, he will become a great master. Butcher stared grimly. What if he doesn't? Silence fell. Mu'er, you won't gain anything staying here. Go out, clear your mind, Granny C said. Chin-Mu nodded, packed his things, and left the academy in a daze. Cripple followed him for a while, ensuring his safety before returning. One day Chin-Mu reached Surging River and sat upon its bank. Suddenly a voice called from behind. Chin brat! He turned to see a luxuriously dressed youth, his face tense, ready to flee at any moment. Oh, Grandmaster! Chinmu turned back to the river. Pangongso steadied himself on his deer leg. Seeing Chinmu's lack of hostility, his courage grew. He approached cautiously. Cult Master Chin seems troubled. We are old acquaintances. Why not share your worries? Perhaps I can help. Chinmu tossed a stone into the river. I'm thinking about how to defeat a true god in the same realm, but I can't find the answer. Grandmaster, can you teach me? Pangongso's eyes gleamed. Drawing closer, he smiled. I see. You must feel useless, yes? Life meaningless? Then why continue? Allow me to help you end it. Whoosh! The river surged as Dragon-Rearing Sovereign's massive head rose like a mountain behind him, whiskers drifting in the air. Pangongso stiffened, face pale, and fled instantly. Apologies! Farewell! Dragon-Rearing Sovereign shook his head. Slippery as a loach, your majesty, I cannot help. Though I am a god, I cannot contend with a true god. Chinmu sighed. Behind him, God Bai Shi flicked his tail in irritation. I can't help either. Your majesty, can I change mountains? This one is too small. My temple doesn't even fit my hoof. Chinmu mounted the dragon Qilin and departed. Human Emperor Qin, you've come to Little Jade Capital to attempt 5 Qi breakthrough and 6 directions breakthrough? Hermit Qing, you greeted him warmly. It has been long since we had visitors. Hall of 5 Qi and Hall of 6 directions have awaited you. Oh, there is something I must tell you. Months ago, the stone statue of your first ancestor human emperor came to life and left. I do not know where he went. Chinmu's eyes twitched. I've met him. Hermit Qingyu's face filled with astonishment. You have? Then do you also know the stone statue of Saint Woodcutter has likewise come to life and departed Little Jade Capital?